Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. On today's episode of me talking about some things, I'm going to be going over episode 5 of Global Showdown. Now before I continue, please check out the links in the description below. I highly recommend the surveys, especially the redemption one. Now onto the episode. We are at day 12 and Dan and Rachel chat about their argument that they had last episode. Rachel wants to have a say but feels unheard and had no say in her beau, and Dan acknowledges the hurt feelings and they get along well but want to be strong partners in the competition. Dan wants to let Rachel start taking the lead. USA East practice with their bows since it's challenge day. Team Australia get their bow ready and test it. It works and they get 50 points. Rene and Marina want to do well and want to get out of the bottom two so they don't have to go into elimination. Team Mexico tests their bows and Fernanda mentions the wind. The teams head over to the location for their next challenge. For this challenge, one person will be the archer and the other will be the butcher. The archer must hit or knock over 3 ostrich eggs, then the butcher must process the guinea fowl. First place gets 100 points, second 70, third 50, fourth 40, and fifth 30. The top 5 will also get the processed meat, and 6th place will get no points and no guinea fowl meat. After the challenge, the 2 teams below the red line will face elimination. The teams disperse to discuss who will be archer and who will be butcher. Rachel isn't comfortable with either, and Dan wants her to choose and step up to the bat like she wanted to. Pablo, Teal, Matt, Rene, Kai, and Rachel will be the archers, while their teammates will be the butchers. Alexa says Kai will help her through the processing of the bird. Phase 1 begins, and the wind is affecting everyone, and USA Pacific is struggling, and Dan wants to support Rachel but doesn't want to upset her. Rene is the first to hit an egg, and Rachel is next. Pablo's bow is losing tension, and Rene is waiting for gaps in the wind and manages to get a second egg. Other teams start hitting eggs as well, but Brazil is the first team to finish phase 1. Rene says his catchphrase, "If you don't play to win, don't play at all." Marina then begins working on processing the guinea fowl, and we hear some backstory from her about how she has chickens on her farm, so she is knowledgeable about processing birds. USA South are the next to move on to phase 2. Marina and Frank are neck and neck for first place. Frank has a lot of experience processing birds. Rachel mentions hating her bowstring that Dan made. Brazil gets first and they get 100 points. They earn 2 items and choose a kudu hide and a folding saw and are at 400 points overall. USA South gets second and are at 620 points. They get a block of salt as their item to choose. Pablo switches to the second bow, but it breaks, so he goes back to the first bow. USA East is the next team to move on to phase 2. Gabby is getting directions from Matt about the processing, while Team Mexico tries to use their broken bow to reinforce their first bow. Team Australia is the next to go into phase 2. Kai coaches Alexa through the processing. Dan is worried for his team, and Rachel said she should have been the one to process the guinea fowl. USA East gets third and are at 530 points overall. They select 2 ostrich eggs. Australia gets 4th and are at 500 points. They earn 2 ostrich eggs as well. USA Pacific and Mexico are up for elimination and are battling out for 5th place and some necessary protein. And Rachel gets a second egg, but after Pablo and Fernanda reinforce their first bow, Pablo gets 2 eggs in quick succession, or at least that's what the edit shows us. But it seems he's getting 2 eggs, so Team Mexico is catching up with USA Pacific. And after a tough battle, Rachel gets her 3rd egg, and USA Pacific is in 5th place and are at 380 points overall. Team Mexico unfortunately get no points and are at 250 overall still. The teams who won protein cook their meat. USA Pacific are worried about elimination, and Rachel blames herself. Dan says Rachel taking the reins hurt them in the competition. That night, a rhino is near Team Brazil's camp, and luckily, the rhino goes away before tensions mount and everything is fine. Day 13, it is elimination day. Matt goes hunting and says he's humbled and wants to get in some practice. He takes a shot at a Niala but misses. Team Mexico are in the bottom for a second time, and Pablo and Fernanda are determined to succeed. Fernanda manages to get a fish, and she and Pablo get some necessary protein before elimination. Dan's back is still hurting him and has nerve pain in his left leg and can't move super fast. Dan made a post about how he has a herniated disc and he got surgery about 6 weeks ago from me recording this audio, and he talked about being in a lot of pain during that time, and the only way to relieve the pain was a surgery. So it was very unfortunate that this happened, and it seems that him running around and doing these challenges made it worse. And he probably wasn't going to tap out from the challenge. So maybe the results of this episode might have been for the best for him, but continuing on with the episode, Team Australia go fishing and try to get some necessary protein. They also talk about how shocking it is that USA Pacific is in the bottom, and I think this is some foreshadowing. Team Australia gets 6 fish. Dan talks about representing for the LGBTQIA plus community and how it is for him to represent for the community, but he's worried about his back and he wants to succeed, and how he was on such a high from Last One Standing season 2, and Global Showdown has been a big kerfuffle for him so far, so that's unfortunate. Team Mexico and USA Pacific head off to the location for the Elimination Challenge. Matt and Gabby discuss the elimination matchup. For the Elimination Challenge, the teams must build 2 tripods that have a removable crossbar placed between them, and on the crossbar, there needs to be a J-hook that will hold a pot of water that they need to boil after building up a fire. The team who fails will immediately be extracted. The challenge begins and Dan is struggling. Team Mexico get their fire first. Team Pacific are working on their tripod first. Each competitor must build their own tripod. And Team Pacific get their tripods and crossbeams up first. Dan then gets material for a J-hook. He says the muscles in his legs are spasming and his back is in a lot of pain. One of the legs of Fernanda's tripod breaks, but after a commercial break, she is able to rebuild it and everything is fine. And they finish up their tripods. USA Pacific is communicating and working well together. They get their fire and Rachel finishes the J-hook. Team Mexico finishes their J-hook, and all the teams have left to do is boil the water. Team Mexico is first to get their pot on the J-hook, and to complete the challenge, once the water starts boiling, they need to remove the crossbar from the tripods, put the pot on the ground, and then put the crossbar back on the tripods without the water spilling. One thing to note is that Team Mexico's pot is closer to the fire, and Team USA Pacific need to build up their fire more, so they're continuously adding more materials to try and keep the fire burning really hot to boil the water. Pablo protects their fire from the wind with the hide, and then he and Fernanda switch, and Pablo blows on the fire while Fernanda protects it from the wind. It's neck and neck, and in the end, Team Mexico wins the Elimination Challenge, and unfortunately, USA Pacific is eliminated. Dan and Rachel are gracious about being eliminated and congratulate Team Mexico. They give their exit interviews, and it's unfortunate to see Dan and Rachel get sent home after all they've been through in this competition. I hope to see them back at some point on separate challenges. I actually listed Dan on my wish list for Naked and Afraid Apocalypse, which is on my channel, and hopefully they can come back. Rachel's one of the nicest people on the franchise. Dan is very talented and adaptable, so I think they're really good separately from one another. And will they ever reconcile and be cordial? I don't know. And after their elimination, 5 teams remain. Team Mexico let everyone know that they survived elimination by yelling in celebration. The other teams are shocked that USA Pacific is gone. Dun dun dun! Crazy episode. It's really sad to see Dan and Rachel go, but for the sake of Dan's back and for both of their sanities, maybe this was for the best. Final scoreboard before the Elimination Challenge. In first place, USA South with 620 points. Second, USA East with 530. Third, Australia with 500. Fourth, Brazil with 400. Fifth, USA Pacific with 380. And sixth, Mexico with 250. And after this elimination, overall, 7th place is Team Texas, and in 6th place, USA Pacific. Now, the number of days after day 13, Matt has 318, Kai has 168, Gabby has 123, Frank has 83, Alexa and Teal have 69, Marina and Rene have 64, Fernanda has 55, and Pablo has 34. And the final day count for Dan is 212, and Rachel's is 48. Episode 6, A Raft of Trouble. Competitors move to a new survival zone patrolled by territorial hippos upending the challenge. Teams must design and build a traditional raffia palm raft. An underdog shocks the competition, while a crucial mistake puts a legend at risk of elimination. Dun dun dun. I also have a theory that they are going to reset the points back to 0 when they move into this new zone. Is that true? I have no idea, but we shall see. Thank you all so much for listening. Please like, comment, nice things, and subscribe, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. Thank you. Bye-bye.